Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Yes, we're back yet again. And we want to talk about the true meaning of unconditional love. And let's talk about loving all aspects of reality. Let's talk about loving the perceived good, bad, as well as the perceived ugly. Let's talk about loving the skeletons within your closet. Let's talk about loving the things that you never thought you could love, or that you should love, or that you ought to love, or that the things that you find completely deplorable or distasteful or ugly, or the things in life that you know that in your heart of hearts is wrong and that there's no room for love. Well, let me tell you something, is that there is no room for hate. There's no room for hate in your heart. See, we don't prescribe or subscribe to the idea that you should set your moral values and ideals aside based on the principle of unconditional love. We don't subscribe to the idea that you should subject yourself or allow yourself to continue to receive abusive patterns or behaviors, nor do we subscribe that you should yourself be a part of those behaviors that you know you should be rising above. Now let's bring it back, talking about unconditional love. See, most people say unconditional love is that love that you love unconditionally no matter what, within its totality. And you know what? That's 100% correct. But most people are lip service about that because they set a whole set of conditions as to what unconditional love actually means. What most people subscribe to unconditional love is, I love you completely and in totality if you do all these things on my imaginary list that I have locked away and stored away in my brain that you do not have access to. So if you do all these wonderful things for me, I will love you unconditionally. But the minute you violate any of these preconceived ideas or notions that I have in my brain that you don't know about, that you can't possibly know about, then all bets are off. All deals are off. I no longer love you unconditionally. And guess what, folks? That is not unconditional love. That's very conditional. And that's the way most people operate. And it's not just about other people. It's not just about the expectations of others, but it's the expectations they have about themselves. It's the expectations that they have about the world around them. It's a whole host of expectations, whether reasonable or unreasonable, it doesn't matter, because the minute that you fall out of love, you fall into a lower vibrational state and your life doesn't flow. It can't flow. So you say to yourself, well, how do I love unconditionally? Well, loving unconditionally begins with loving all the different aspects and pieces of self, like we mentioned in the last video. You have to begin to take out those skeletons in your closet. You have to begin to unpack the packets of poo that you once thought were aspects of your life, re-examine them to find out where the true divinity lies within, to see where God's creation is actually shining in your life, instead of casting a cloud of doom and gloom and darkness. You have to be able to re-examine the events and the circumstances in your life, as well as in the life of other people, to determine where God's light is actually shining and where the love actually is, where it's showing up in your world. So for example, if such and such never happened in my life, I wouldn't be in this amazing place. Or if that thing that I once thought was a pile of poo didn't happen, then I wouldn't be here in my life. I wouldn't have met the love of my life. I wouldn't have gotten into this career. I wouldn't have decided to pursue physical fitness. I wouldn't have decided to pursue spirituality. I wouldn't have decided to have a closer connection to Creator. I wouldn't have decided to do a myriad of other things that would not have been possible if the lower vibrational events hadn't taken place in your life. See, anything that takes place in your life, all it is a perception. It's a perception. Is if it resonates with you and you like it, then it's good. If it doesn't resonate with you and you don't like it, then it's perceived as bad. But what most people overlook are the hidden gifts and the gems that are contained within what they once thought was a pile of poo. What we want you to do is to dig into the skeletons in your closet, to pull them out, to examine them, not to feel sorry for yourself, not to kick yourself, not to feel worse than you did prior, but to really examine them. Because once you bring the skeletons to light and see what those blessings in your life really served, you can't elevate to the next level. And you say, no, 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 Ezekiel, you don't understand. You're talking crazy talk because you don't understand what happened to me. You don't really know what happened in our life. You don't understand this bad event. And I wouldn't wish this thing on anybody. And you know what? If you hold on to your limitations, if you hold on with such tenacity to the hurt, to the fear, to the anger, to the regret, that's all you'll ever be. But when you can look at something in your life that you once thought was dark and unpack the packets of light that are hidden, sometimes very, very much so within, it takes a lot of digging sometimes, and we acknowledge your journey on doing that. Sometimes it's a fight, sometimes it's a struggle, sometimes it's heart-wrenching and heartbreaking to look at the things in the past that really did hurt. And we're not minimizing any of this. But the only way to get through to the light is to be able to transcend beyond what you perceive to be darkness. So what are you going to do with that in a lower vibrational energy? Are you going to help change the world? Are you going to help positively impact somebody else's life? Are you going to make distinct and decisive changes within your life that not only help yourself, but help other people? What can you do with the things that you once perceived as a lower vibrational negative event in your life to turn it into one of the best things that ever happened to you, to turn it into a catalyst for powerful, powerful change? We all have things that have happened to us. It doesn't matter who we are. And you can either wallow in the self-pity, or you can start to rise above, use the tools of the Ezekiel method, reach out so you can learn the Ezekiel method to help you transcend those lower vibrational energies, to help take your life to amazing places. So you have a closer connection to Creator. So you're able to have that unconditional love that doesn't have conditions, because once you are able to love all yourself in totality, the perceived good, bad, and the ugly, you see the world in a very different light. You see the world in a beautiful light. You see the world in a majestic and powerful light. You see the world in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. And as a result of seeing things differently and perceiving things differently, your life changes to a whole new level. And we want that for you because we love each and every one of you. And we want each and every one of you to love yourselves in totality. And with that and through that, we love each and every one of you. And until the next video, blessings. Thank you for taking the time to watch. If this message resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up, please share it, please like it, please subscribe if you're also on YouTube. But I also want you to do something for me, actually more for yourself. I really want you to close your eyes and I want you to think for a second, what if your life never changes? What if you look at your life 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now and you hold on to the same hurts, you hold on to the same anger, you hold on to the same vibration, you hold on to the same repeating patterns? What will your life look like? Are you ready for a change? And if you're ready for a change, then we're going to ask that you reach out to us, I Am Us, so we can walk you through the Ezekiel method and help you take your life to the next level. We want to see each and every one of you shine brighter than a million stars in the night sky. But you have to be able to overcome your own internal darkness in order to be able to do that. And until the next video, we'll look forward to chatting with you soon.